Okay, I want to talk a little bit about my search methodology and take you through a sample search because I think people are still struggling a little bit with the concept of generating keywords, and this is actually a really important part of the search. And I want to show you this document because this is actually how, in real life, as a librarian, I set up my searches. I find that it's just the easiest way to organize my thoughts. So I put the question at the top of the page, and today I'm working with, can educating smokers about the danger to their family from secondhand smoke make them want to quit? And so the first thing I do is put a big table together where I put one concept per column, and then I write down every synonym or related concepts I can think, one in each box. So my first concept is educating smokers. I put that here. The word smoker is going to appear a lot in my search, so for right now I'm just focusing on the concept of educating here. So I'm trying to think of all the ways I could say educating for in the context of educating smokers. And I could say educating smokers, I could be talking about educated smokers, I might want to educate smokers. Because I have so many different options here, there is a little trick in your library databases to just remove all of the endings and figure out what the beginning word stem is that you're interested in, which in our case is educate, which we're chopping off the E because educating does not have an E there, it has an I. So educat star will find automatically all of these word variations if I use it in my keyword search. The same thing for counseling, because counseling is sometimes written with two L's. It's a little quirk of English versus this British spelling. So I can search counsel with the star to represent all the different word endings. When it comes to another synonym, I put teach, educating, counseling, or teaching. I don't want to find records about teachers per se. I just really want teach or teaching. So I've put those two here rather than using truncation. Truncation can sometimes be bad because it can bring back keywords I don't want. And I happen to know that motivational interviewing or a motivational interview is sometimes a tool that we use when we want people to stop doing something. Motivational interviewing, for example, in the context of Native American youths in reducing alcohol consumption, is a paper that I've seen in the past, just as an example. So with regard to secondhand smoke, again, I'm not going to worry about writing smoke, smoker, smoking in every single box. I'm just going to focus on the concept of secondhand. And secondhand concerns me as a keyword because it can also be written as two words. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to write out all the possibilities here. Secondhand with a space, or secondhand with a hyphen, or secondhand all one word. Here are some other phrases that I've seen in the literature. Involuntary inhalation, passive smoker, or exposure smoker. One of the reasons I leave smoker in down here is because I absolutely have to have it. Passive on its own is not going to mean anything, but smoker is going to make the phrase mean something that I'm interested in. So that's why I left it in. There are a number of decisions you could have made here, but for right now, I'm just going to search the phrases passive smoker and exposure smoker. Quit and stop, stopping smoking, quitting smoking. I've heard the phrase smoking cessation before, so I'm putting cessation here. And cease, of course, is the verb form of cessation. So I could actually have written them in the same box. It doesn't matter. But I want to show you that what you should do once you've got these columns, each column represents a concept. So in order to build your queries, you just take everything in a column. Like for example, we'll take everything in the middle column, all the concepts I've come up with, and then we'll write a query that uses the OR operator. Sometimes you see them written in double caps, but they don't have to be. Uses the OR operator to combine all of those things, because what we're telling the computer is any of these phrases are of interest. Just one of them has to appear in the record in order for that record to be of interest to me. I don't need all of them to appear in the record. So I'm using the OR operator, which tells the computer this or this or this or this. They're all related concepts. They're all synonyms. Just find one of them. You only have to find one of them, and then the record can come back. So I'm going to do the same thing with my educate and my quit threads. I've taken all the keywords I've come up with, I've combined them all with or operators. Because I didn't include smoking and everything here, I'm also going to make sure that my record is about smoking by searching smoking or smoker or smoke. And now I am ready to take these 4 different concept queries and combine them all in a database search. So what I'm going to do is going to go back to PsycInfo, if I can actually figure out where that is here. And I am going to just take this here and start copying each concept, which is a series of keywords that mean the same thing, combined with ORs, and I'm going to put in 1 per box, and these concepts are automatically going to be combined with the AND operator. So don't change these drop-down menus. What we're doing is we're combining different concepts with the AND operator. So if I put this here, put my second-hand concept, I put my quitting concept, and then put my educating concept. I have 4, really 3 concepts here, plus putting smoking in there to make sure it's going to come up in my search records some here. So I've got the concept of smoking and then 3 different related concepts. And I'm using the AND operator to combine them all together, which tells the computer, okay, I need 1 of these words, and I need at least 1 of these words, and I need at least 1 of these words, and I need at least 1 of these words. Only if the record has 1 of these, 1 of these, 1 of these, and 1 of these can it come back in my search. So I'm combining all 4 concepts to make sure that they are going to come back in my search. So let's run the search. Probably we won't get perfect results right at the top. That almost never happens in searching unless you're working with a really easy topic to search. So don't get discouraged. This is about cigarette use among parents with children, but I can see it's not exactly what we need. However, that doesn't mean it's not useful, because when you're looking at your search results, what you want to do is scan this area here. In a library database, most records will be shown with the title, with the bibliographic information, who wrote it, where it was published, but also what subjects were assigned to this record to show what the record is really about. And even though this record is not perfectly related, I can see here that passive smoking is a subject term in the PsycInfo database. And so what I'm going to do, because this is important, is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to press Control-C, copy it, and then I am going to put passive smoking. We already knew that we used passive smoker as a keyword. But I have a second table down here for subject headings in the database that I'm working with. So I'm going to do subject headings PsycInfo. I can make that bold because it's the title of this section. And then here's where I'm going to start collecting any subject heading that I see that are going to be useful for my search. So if I'm really having a hard time with my search, I can come down here and start using these, as well as using the keywords that I originally came up with. Smoking cessation, I can see, is another subject heading that's used in the database. These are official subject headings. They're always written the same way. It's never going to be cessation of smoking. It's always smoking cessation, because in the subject field, this is controlled vocabulary. So the people who add subjects are always adding exactly the same phrase. So it makes searching less difficult because you only need to know 1 phrase, and then when you're searching in the subject field, you can just search that 1 phrase and find everything tagged with that phrase, because the phrase is always going to be put into the subject field exactly the same way. Smoking cessation, never cessation, comma, smoking, or cessation of smoking. It's always going to be this phrase. Which is why subject headings can really help, because you don't have to stress out about exactly the series of words used in the written article. You can just use the phrase that you know is consistently used in the subject heading area of the record. So as we scroll through here, we're seeing some things: parental depression associated with lower smoking cessation rates. So it's not quite what we want, but again, we can see some options here. Health education. Health education is something that we can put under educating smokers. We're not searching with these things yet, but I'm just writing them down in case I want to move into searching with them. Motivational interviewing, I can see here, is also a subject term. Okay. So what I wanted to show you, so what we learned in the research notebook is that not only can I find subject headings here, or subject headings here over in the left-hand side of the pane, I can also find subject headings by going up to the top of the database here and clicking thesaurus. So if I am looking for smoking, so terms related to smoking in the thesaurus, what I can do is open the thesaurus up, just type smoking in. Now you're not going to be using ands, ors, or nots here. You are just going to be searching one word or one phrase because this is not searching articles. What this is searching, as you can see, is it's searching the entries in the thesaurus. So this is almost like searching a database. I mean, not a database. It's almost like searching a dictionary rather than searching a database of articles. So if you've ever used a thesaurus before, like thesaurus.com, let's just do an example. This thesaurus is very similar to how thesaurus.com works in that if I type in smoking here, I'm gonna get all of these different synonyms to smoking, but actually this doesn't have to do with smoking cigarettes. This just has to do with English words that can mean the same thing figuratively, right? So that's why the thesaurus.com is not helpful in this case. If we use a thesaurus in PsycInfo, we're going to find only those official phrases that are added onto the records as subject headings. So now we're searching an official list of all of the subject headings that could appear on a record in PsycInfo. So if I click Browse, it says, oh, the term you enter could not be found. The list below is in alphabetical order of the things you might have meant. So I can see that smoking and tobacco in parentheses is used in the database instead of just the word smoking. I can also see, look what came up, smoking cessation. So if I click here, I can see the term smoking cessation introduced in 1988. It means cigarette smoking rehabilitation programs or stopping the habit of smoking. So as I can see here, there's nothing else. It's always helpful to look at the related terms. There's nothing else that's super helpful here. If I go back up to tobacco smoking, this will show me all terms related to tobacco smoking. And look at what's here. Passive smoking is here as well. So as I scroll down here, I can see smoking cessation is also listed. So what I could be doing here is copying these things, pasting them into my box here. I already have passive smoking. Let's look at passive smoking to see if it has anything else. Here it says involuntary inhalation, so this is useful. So this is not a subject term, but if this was a phrase I didn't know, I could use this as a keyword. So I could take this, I already have it, but if I didn't, I could take this and paste it back into my, up here, like I've already pasted it here into my keyword table. So this is just the definition. This is not the official term used in the subject heading area. Secondhand smoking is, passive smoking is used for secondhand smoking. So I have some confirmation here that if I'm searching the subject heading passive smoking, I'm getting that secondhand smoking. Okay. So let's go back to the advanced search. One of the things that I am unhappy with, let me go back and add my 197 back in here from the search history. So anytime you want to go to the search history, you can see the searches you've already run. And then you can click on one to go back to those results. And then if you want to collapse the search history, you can just click that again. One of the things here that I'm unhappy with is that the parents, this is about smoking cessation, but it's not really about educating anybody. And I want to make sure that, and you know, when you think about what you're trying to find, who are you trying to educate? Well, you're trying to educate the parents of children. Not always, but that's one way you could approach it. I mean, you also want to educate, everybody about dangers to their spouse or to their parents or, grandparents living in the home. But I think one interesting angle that I've seen in the results here is that we're talking about use in parents and, how that impacts the children. So if I search parents or parent, and this is nice because it's suggesting parents or parent or parental. So this is suggesting a keyword that I hadn't even thought of. So that's kind of nice. So I've added this additional concept to the search. So let's see how that does. Here, smokers who are unmotivated to quit and have a child with asthma are more likely to quit with intensive motivational interviewing and repeated biomarker feedback. This is a highly relevant article. It's about smoking cessation, it's about counseling, or in this case, motivational interviewing, which is a type of counseling. So that is a pretty good result. And here, motivating parents of kids with asthma to quit smoking, the effect of the teachable moment and increasing intervention intensity. So as we look down here, we don't see any really useful subject headings, but one thing I didn't search is teachable. So I might want to go back and add that into my list. Teachable. And maybe I want to put it down here. So now I can go back and run this search again if I wanted to. I could go back to the top and paste that in. Okay, here is an exposure to secondhand smoke, child abuse. Reducing secondhand smoke exposure of children undergoing survey. Oh, sustainability of a parental tobacco control intervention in pediatric practice. So this, quitting tobacco, let's keep talking to parents. So this was actually pretty good. Once I put the concept of parent in, I started getting some pretty good stuff. But what I'm going to do now is clear this because I want to start using some of the subject headings that we found. So let's bring this back up. One of the subject headings that we found was motivational interviewing. Another was smoking cessation. Another was passive smoking. Sometimes searching is just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. So let me just try these three terms. Rather than searching them as keywords, I'm going to use a fielded search to search them as subjects. The other thing I can do to make sure that the phrases are searched as a phrase without any words in between. Oh, sorry, phone call. Is to do that. So if we put things into double quotes, that means they'll be searched as a phrase. No words can appear in between, and it'll be searched with those two words exactly next to each other, which is what we want because we know these phrases are always written exactly like this. And we're going to do that just to make sure that we don't have any, because we're searching through all of the subjects. We don't want those two words to be split up and find cessation in one term and smoking in a different term. We want this to be the exact term we find. So let's try this. Okay. Motivating Latino caregivers of children with asthma to quit smoking, a randomized trial. So this does not say motivational interview. But it actually should say motivational interviewing in the subject area, and I wonder why it doesn't. And this is the only result we got. Well, it worked because this is a relevant record. So let's open this up and see if I can figure out why this came back. Oh, because it's also searching some additional keywords here. So we weren't shown on the result page, but if we open up the record, we can see some additional keywords that it's also searching in this subject. So yeah, so this is another strategy. It can be highly effective if you're using subject headings and searching them in the subject field. It can be highly effective. You don't necessarily have to use subject headings at all. I use them in addition to keyword searching because I find that I can find records using the subject headings different records than records I find using keywords. So it's just another way to approach the search. So I hope that makes things a little more clear. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask. You can ask in the forum. You can ask in the general forum. You can ask in this week's forum, or there's also a general forum for general questions about the course. Or you can email me. You can quick mail. You can send me a message in Moodle. However you want to get in touch, don't hesitate to do that, because I'm happy to help or make another video on your topic or whatever you would like me to do. If you're really struggling, I'm happy to do this. So, okay, I hope that helps.